big thing is, and again, I'm
Okay.
probably dropping out for y'all. Because again, the net right now is unstable and there's really not a reason for it. And I know it's unstable on your ends as well, which is further indication that there's something going on. The providers are probably getting hacked again right now. In addition to that, the messaging I got earlier in the week, like right after the first hack attack was taking place, I strongly suspected it was because the banking institutions were being affected. I was getting denied access to many, especially credit card companies. I was being denied access to my accounts to, do my usual checks to make sure everything was on the up and up. But again, the sites were blocked. They were getting DDoSed or something. So then later on, I was advised that yes, the attacks are in fact taking place. And
Hey everyone, it's Robert with Patriot Gear LLC, Texas. If you're concerned like me with the possibility of an electromagnetic pulse, a coronal mass ejection, or just plain lightning protection, you should probably consider buying an EMP Shield unit. EMP Shield has the world's only tested and approved EMP technology that protects the entire electrical system. It's built to exceed military standards, and it reacts in less than 500 trillionths of a second. Each unit has a 10-year limited warranty, plus it comes with a $25,000 insurance policy. If you'd like to save $50 off each unit, use our coupon, Patriot Gear TX. You can combine our coupon with sales and other offers, such as free shipping. If you buy a unit, it supports our efforts to bring you more content and more information to keep you up to date. Thanks again.
in addition to that, we can expect TikTok to be taken down. Whether they convince TikTok that it's in their best interest to sell for a little bit of a profit, or TikTok is completely shut down in its entirety. The rationale officially is Chinese problems, but they claim, the Chinese are collecting all of this data on their users. But the fact is all the other social media sites are doing the same exact thing. And if they say they're not, they're lying. We know they are. How else would they know exactly what we're saying and doing? And you get the advertisements keyed. They know what we talk about. They capture every message we pass. They capture every word we say. So there is no privacy. So this argument against TikTok is
Exactly.
if they were that worried about TikTok, they could implement some things that could stop TikTok from collecting that kind of data if they really wanted to. They've got that capability. And for them to say that it's either all or nothing is complete, well, it's bullshit. So I said it. So that's it for the internet hacking. So at the end of the day, to be honest, I'm already seeing it, but I'd made the mention in one of the forums that the government is going to start cracking down through the social media platforms on what you can and cannot say. So some of this is not coming from the platforms themselves. It is coming, it's being driven by the government on cracking down on people. So we can see the crackdowns continue and to be even worse than what we've seen before. So it is going to affect mostly right now, it's mostly conservatives that are getting affected. We can expect to see it to affect both groups, no matter what your mindset might be, whether you're liberal or conservative or a patriot or whatever. There we go. I said the magic words again.
You mentioned the Arks. I was interested in what you're more on that.
I have no data other than the arcs are moving. That's it. We know that there were roughly 3 arcs. Presumably, some of the arcs that are out there are managed by global groups in conjunction with the United States. In addition to that, we know that there's arc-like things under the surface of the ocean that have been managed by other groups that are not human, but are presumably human-like. These may be the previous civilizations that have somehow found safety under the water. And there's a book that actually hints at that. Seven Eves, I've mentioned the book before, mentioning that it is possible to hide from a disaster by being underwater. If you're a previous civilization trying to avoid a cataclysm on the earth, it would make the most sense to go underwater and take refuge there. And in some cases, if another form of life managed to take root on the surface, it might be better just to stay where you're at, which would explain some of the things taking place on the earth right now. And I do expect, and I have been told, that we're going to learn more about these other civilizations that still exist in the future. But for now, like everything else, they're going to deny that exists. For example, the Planet X system. In the past, over and over, they were repeatedly denied the existence of the system. And now they're admitting that, yes, the system does exist, saying that we just now discovered it. But many of us in this forum, no matter, again, what our persuasion is, We've all known that this system exists and they've lied about it. And again, they're just now talking about it in conjunction with many other things they've lied about that they're just now coming clean about, such as chemtrails. We've even got a former vice president on record publicly saying that we were chemtrailing, and yet the social media platforms were censoring that data. And as a fact, one of my channels has a strike against it because of it, even though I'm actually telling everybody what they've already admitted to. And now the governments are talking about, yes, we are chemtrailing. So clear censorship. And again, it isn't just the conservatives that are being affected, everybody's being affected. So what does that tell you? That's a rhetorical question. So did that answer your question on the Arks? I mean, the best as I can anyway. I don't want to tell you anything else because then I'd be lying.
Good enough at this point, I guess.
All right. I wish I had more, but I don't. We do have a number of pulses that are coming into the solar system right now. These are stronger than the ones before, the strongest ever as far as we know. I wasn't given any more data than that, but I'm assuming they're coming off of a system that probably destroyed itself, eons ago, and that energy is just now getting to us. I suspect they already have an idea of what it's going to do to our planet, but they're not admitting what that is yet. And we've already been told they're not going to tell us how these different events are going to affect our planet, and the fact that they're going to wait till the last minute before they tell us about some of it. And in fact, that there is a movie out, it's a Korean movie talking about a meteor coming in, and that's kind of letting people know that, yeah, meteors are coming in, but in this case, they're not going to tell us they're going to come in until the last minute. In the case of the movie, they were given about 200 plus to a 1 year warning that the meteors were coming in, and the governments were actually taking efforts to relocate people out of the target area to other countries as a way of minimizing loss of life. Maybe they're trying to show us that if you can warn people and move people to try to save lives, the things that they're worried about are going to happen anyway. And so it may be justification on their part is we can't tell you. It's also opportunity for them to run the movie, see what people's perceptions are of the situation, and then they can make a final decision on whether or not they're going to tell us that things are inbound. There are rumors that something is inbound in the month of May, but I've got no real proof of it yet. Yeah, once it starts raining meteors, that's what they're going to let us
In a
know.
few months.
And just so you know, I'm only getting about 25% of what you're saying. We are 7 days away from the sun acting up in a very bad way. Y'all saw the image of the Torah that was presented to former President Trump. Disturbingly, the comment made was him being the Prince of Peace. And if you understand scripture, then you'll know that that's a bad sign. It could also be a distraction as well. Demonic possessions and oppression is going to go up. EAMs are going to increase. People acting crazy is going to increase. Weather is going to get worse over the summer, worse than it has before. They're already starting to see larger than normal sized hail starting to occur again. We thought there was supposed to have been an attack by Iran by today at the latest. That hasn't happened yet. Maybe somebody talked them off the ledge somehow. But never forget, before they decide they're going to take Israel down, they're going to find a way to work with the Russians and the Chinese to take us down first. We know that's going to happen. I do not have any updates on the Odessa, Midland, potentially Austin and Dallas issue. But if things start getting hot, you want to seriously consider getting out of Dallas, because I've been told by various means, various ways, Dallas will not exist when this starts. So you're going to want to have a go bag ready to go as a minimum, and try to keep your gas tank in your car topped off with at least half a tank of gas minimum, so you can get out of that area, have a plan. So things start getting weird, and these incidents that we're talking about start occurring, which I believe is this summer. If you need to get out of town, you can.
Got the bug out bag ready and places picked out.
Good. Good to hear that. Good news is Texas and other states are banding together to go after the federal government to stop unelected bureaucrats from making up their own laws. Again, these laws affect everybody, just not one side. No unelected bureaucratic or government agency should ever be able to have the power to make up their own laws and rules as they go. That should always be something done by Congress. So there at least presumably would be some kind of vetting. So hopefully with this, I expect this lawsuit to actually get shut down. They're probably going to get told to pound sand. And this is one of the things that's going to lead to a dissolution of the states or a breakup in a regionalism. At the same time, if a lot of people end up with cancer and they bring out the bracelets that say that these bracelets can prevent you from having cancer, then of course, a lot of people are going to capitulate, take the bracelet at whatever cost there may be, and in order to be rescued from dying of cancer that they created. Next up, jailed pro-lifer was kept in solitary confinement for 22 days with lights on. It doesn't matter who you are and what you're protesting. This should never happen to anybody, let alone to any American. We're going to leave it at that. RFK Jr., I think we all know that he's a Democrat, but he's recognized that there's issues. And I think we're all in agreement that politicization of any government organization is a really bad thing. Whether the Republicans get control of it or whether the Democrats get control of it, we all know that that's a very bad thing and it should never happen because one of us is going to suffer. And if it suffers, we no longer have a democracy. It's as simple as that. Next, 1 in 5 mail-in voters admitted to committing voter fraud during the 2020 election. So there you have it. We have proof they admitted they did it wrong. I can understand illegally filling out a ballot on someone else's behalf. I can understand why that would be done. So that would be something that would warrant digging into more. I didn't quite have the time to dig into this because it just came across earlier. Arizona, I'm not going to dig into how bad things are in Arizona right now, but things are getting really, really bad. The folks running the state of Arizona are violating many things that would be theoretically controlled by the Constitution. Again, this is a sign of things to come. I'm going to leave it at that. The EU is continuing spying on its own people, intercepting messages, and not just private focused on, say, terrorism, for example, but just anybody they feel like. So EU's got bigger problems than we do. And in fact, I think EU is going to be attacked before we do. OpenAI, that's basically like ChatGPT and programs similar to that through Microsoft. Yeah, this is part of the warning that we got a week ago, where more and more of our financials are going to be done through biological scanning. So expect that to be a thing in the not too distant future. It's coming. It should be happening any month now. Nothing significant, of course. They've kept it all quiet. In fact, it seems like there's less going on. It seems like there's less going on now than before. We know that's not true. So interesting conversations with different articles. Some folks are saying that the comet was destroyed by the sun, but it is very clear that the comet was not destroyed. And we're seeing more and more images and videos of the fact that the comet is still alive and well doing its thing. And still downplaying the fireball issue. Again, fireballs coming close. Again, some after the fact reporting. So that's it for that. So before we call it a night, is there anything else anybody wants to add? Looking at the chat. In regards to Marianas Trench, why was that brought up? It is deep. That would be a good place for a civilization to hide. It is rumored / said that there are holes that act as some sort of portal in these deep areas like the Marianas Trench that properly protected assets belonging by whomever are able to go and traverse these portals. And that got nothing to add to atmosphere compression. It's still going to happen. Student protests. Yeah, hire an idiot. I know for a fact that that takes place. I've seen it around the world. It isn't just America that has a problem with guys like Soros paying for students to go protest. You know, you find people that need money for drugs, whatever. You just give them a little bit of money. They'll go protest for whatever reason, even if they have no idea what they're even protesting about. Done.
So this atmospheric big supercell that was going across the Midwest states, they captured on radar several very sharp, limited, it looked like laser beams that were being shot into the weather cells, and then immediately, of course, they grew.
Provided with the
Huh.
heat it needs. Yeah, you're providing with the heat it needs. It hits a cell that's existing. If you heat up the interior of the cell, it's able to absorb more water and get bigger. And then
Right.
when that heat is no longer there to sustain that growth or that capacity, and it begins to cool down again, the storm is forced to dump it. It can't hold it anymore, which creates to more weather. So somebody is out there causing this to take place.
Right.
Somebody
And
or something.
these beams were shot within the state of Texas.
There's been indications and hints that a lot takes place at Fort Hood. And I believe Fort Hood was named as an area that whenever people get flipped, like the switch we talked about in the past, that Fort Hood would be one of the areas that would be a concern. We do know from real world news articles that there are unusual issues at Fort Hood. And I'll leave it at that. And there's more and more indications that the water events that we're worried about, the real water events, not these interim ones, are presumably coming this summer. But we'll see. I got a mixed message the other day. Hopefully y'all get an update or some clarification on that one. And again, as soon as I get it, as always, I'll share it with you guys.
I
Anything
got
else?
I got a message today from some people deep in the military talking about maps too, and they're very, very, very concerned. I mean, it's almost imminent at this point. They're looking at us being hit, but they're not in Texas. I mean, they're talking really New York and God, New York and Washington.
Yeah, we know that they're going to get hit. That's a given. Texas,
Yeah. It
the
was
two
less
that I'm
less
most
firm
concerned
about
about,
Texas. They said.
unfortunately, Dallas and Houston are major targets in Texas. If two cities are going to get popped in Texas, those would be the two.
Yeah.
Either very bad news, but that's just what it is.
Yeah.
So yeah, looking good.
Great.
All right, I got some kids to take care of. God bless you
All
too,
right.
ladies.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
All
We
right.
appreciate it.
Thank you too.
Good
We just
evening.
love you, Stefan, and just hang in there, okay? Good evening, Kawina, too.
All right.
Good
God bless
evening,
everyone.
Shaw.
Good week. Good
Good
night.
night.
Nighty
God
night.
bless.
God bless.